variables. What are the random variables? How many types of the random variables, guys? Discrete and continuous. When I say the random variable is the continuous random variable, whenever I am using some instrument to collect the data. For example, to collect the height of a person, I am going to use a meter scale. To collect the weight of a person, I am going to use a weighing machine. So I am using some instrument to collect the data. Then I call such data collected as a continuous data. Clear? What is a discrete random variable? I am not using any instrument. For example, number of students in a class, number of defects, number of defective items, number of people recruited. Everything is the discrete. All are getting? Number of male and female. I don't need any instrument to collect such data, right? So whenever you see that kind of data, that is called discrete data. Clear? And different, based on the discrete and continuous, we are going to have, it's a distribution function. If the x is a discrete function, I mean discrete random variable, I'm going to have a probability mass function. The general formula is called what? Already we discussed in the last class, right? You guys need to thorough. P of x is called, if x is the discrete, P of x is called what? Probability mass function. If x is a continuous, f of x is called what? Probability density function. Mass means what? For each x equal to some value, in this case of example, for x equal to 2, how much is the mass is there? 1. You guys are getting. And x equal to 4, how much is the mass was there? 3 by 36. Yes or no? So that is called mass function. What is the density function? In the future I'll talk about it. If that is clear? So what I'm trying to say is, based on the type of the random variable, the functions are going to be there. Amen. You guys are understanding what I'm saying? Based on the type of the variable, I'm going to have different function names. So if the data is a discrete, I'm going to have probability mass function. So based on the type of the random variable, I'm going to different formula. For example, the previous problem, whatever we discussed, what is that? No, what is the random variable? The sum of the two numbers on the two dice, right? This is my random variable. When I did this, I got, this is the formula. Yes or no? This is the formula. If multiplication number, am I going to have the same formula or different formula? Different formula. So based on the random variable, this formula is going to change. So as I am good with the mathematics, I am able to develop such kind of formula. If you are not good with the mathematics, you cannot do this, right? So you fail to solve the problem. So that's where statisticians came up with a standard formula. I mean standard functions. This is not the formula, standard functions. So those functions are depend on what? Type of the random variable. If x is discrete, I'm going to have one set of formula. If x is a continuous, I'm going to have another set of formula. So before applying any theory, to apply any function and in the formula, first you need to identify the data is a discrete or continuous. Otherwise, if you apply the formula related to continuous on the discrete and discrete on the continuous, is a problem, right? You guys are understanding that one? So it's very, very important for us to understand the given data is discrete or continuous. Until unless you have a clarity, you cannot solve the problem because you cannot use the formula. Makes sense? Makes sense. So in this, we are going to study different distribution functions. I mean, probability mass functions, probability distribution functions. In general, if it is a discrete, what I'm saying is, if it's a discrete, you should call that function as what? Probability. You should spell out along with me. That's why I'm repeating again and again. If the x is the continuous, what I'm going to call? Probability density function. Probability density function. Sometimes in general I call probability distribution function. Probability distribution function. Which means what? It can be continuous, it can be discrete. So if you are continuous, the specific name is what? Probability. If it is a continuous, the function name is probability density function. Otherwise, I am going to call that as a probability mass function. So let us see what are the different standard formulas or functions are available. Most of the real-time problems can be solved by knowing those standard distributions. All are with me. So based on the discrete, I am going to have one set of distributions, and based on the continuous, I am going to have different set of distributions. You guys are clear? So let us understand each one by one. First is Bernoulli. I am not writing fully. What should I call? Bernoulli distribution function or Bernoulli random variable. I can call with the both the names, right? Sir, no. What is a random variable? If I say distribution function, let us understand this word. If I say distribution function, what is the meaning of this? I know its probabilities and what are the x values you are going to take. Then only I can calculate the distribution function. Probability distribution. Probability distribution means what? I should know to plot that, to plot this graph. I need to know first what are the values it is going to take, and I should be able to calculate that. So what I'm trying to say, if I'm saying probability distribution, which means I'm referring to the random variable only. If I'm talking about the random variable, which means I'm talking about the distributions only. Make sense? So knowing the random variable means knowing the distribution. Knowing the distribution means what? Knowing the random variable. Random variable implies double implies means from here to here probability distribution. Okay. Yeah, second one. I'm writing here. Sorry for it. Bernoulli. After that, I'm writing here. Binomial. What I can call this binomial random variable or binomial probability distribution. Both are same. Language. See, the problem with this subject is if you go for the interview, if you don't use the language itself, I'll know how much you learn, right? By asking one question, I can figure it out whether you know the subject or not. Leave about all those, how much you know is a different story. By asking a simple question, I can figure it out whether you know the subject or not. Correct? Third one. Poisson. Always let me write one more time. I think the spelling always I confuse always. You figure it out. Poisson distribution. Fourth one. Geometric distribution. Fifth one. Negative binomial. Sixth one. Hyper geometric, etc. There are so many distributions. How many distributions? If you go and look at, for example, I am taking the Minitab. See, look at this. Binomial, geometric, neighbor, discrete, integer, Poisson. All are with me? All these are, what are those? Discrete distributions. Discrete distributions. All are getting or not? And what about here? Normal. Second, exponential. Third, variable. VW. Fourth, gamma, etc. See this? There are so many distributions. These are all are continuous distributions. All are with me. These are only the possible distributions. These are only possible distributions. No, there are. Apart from this, there are another few hundreds of distributions. Is it possible to master all those distributions? Highly impossible. So I'm going to give a trick. By using that trick, everything converted into only one distribution. You guys are getting? But there is a little bit of compromise. You guys are understanding what I'm saying? I'm going to give a trick where everything I can convert into only one distribution. We will study that distribution afterwards. Makes sense? Even you take this elastic distribution, I can convert that distribution to, let's say, Coulomb distribution. This is also I can convert into beta distribution, also into Coulomb distribution. This, even it is a discrete binomial, also I can convert into Coulomb distribution, but there is some compromise. There is some approximation. It's not exact. If you want the exact, what I need to do? I need to use the exact distribution. You guys are understanding? So what I'm trying to say, okay? Clear, guys, what I said? We'll study those things afterwards, but is that error? Approximation, no? When I'm converting all the distributions into one. So what is the difference between the usage of the exact distributions and the approximated distribution? In the exact distribution, the accuracy of your answer or prediction or whatever you are going to take is more compared to my approximated one. Is that is clear, guys? As it is very highly. So first what I do, whenever a problem comes, I'll try to understand what is the distribution. I'll try to use the exact distribution. If I fail to do that, then what I'm going to do? I'll use the approximated distribution. You guys are able to. So let us understand one by one. First, let us take Bernoulli. What is the meaning of the Bernoulli? What does it mean exactly? Okay. Very, very important, all these things. People talk about logistic regression. What is that? Neural network. Everywhere, these are going to be, the backend story is this. Bernoulli random variable. Can I call like that? Or I can call this is the same as a Bernoulli distribution. If the random variable is going to take the values 0 or 1. Such random variables are called Bernoulli okay. So 0 or 1. What does it do? Because random variable always it should take what? Real number. For example, x is gender. X is the gender. So x is the gender means what? Either male or female. Either male or female. So if it is a male, I call that as a 1. If it is a female, I am going to call that as a 0. You are doing the test. You are running the test cases in your company. The test case may fail or pass 0 or 1. If it is failing, you call 1. If it is passing, call 0. Or other way also. You guys are getting. You define how do you want it. You want to call x equal 1 as a failed test case or x equal 1 as a positive. That's up to you. The interpretation, the answers are not going to change. We'll see those. Don't worry about those. But what I'm trying to say, whenever you get the data, like yes or no kind of thing, such data is called Bernoulli data. Bernoulli trial is a single trial. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of the trial? You need to understand this word carefully. What is the meaning of the trial? If I run the test case, one test case, that's a one trial. If I run the second test case, another trial. Third test case, another trial. So Bernoulli random variable is what? Only one trial result. So if I'm running the test cases multiple times, it may pass or fail. So every time, what I'm doing, I'm running multiple Bernoulli random variables or not. So the trial can be like this. I run 100 test cases. After that 100 test cases, if the number of defective test cases are, let's say, greater than 10, I'm not going to release that product. Now, the releasing the product or not is a one trial. You guys are understanding? What is the decision there? Whether I am going to release or not. But in that there are different Bernoulli trials. Those are on the test cases. That random variable and to release the product or not, this random variable, both are different. You guys are clear? For example, x equal to the test result. Test result in the sense a particular test case passed or failed. I may be running 100 test cases. And y equal to, am I going to release the product or not? There's another y random variable. So based on the problem, what you are referring, based on that, my random variable nature is going to change. So in case of the test cases, fail or pass, only I am looking at the test cases. I'm not talking about, am I going to release the product or not based on this. Maybe after running the test cases, based on the test results, I may take the decision differently. But to pass, if I may, whenever I am executing the test cases, it is passing or failing. There's a particular test cases. It is like this. Let's take another example. A cricket team is there. Okay, one cricketer bats. He made 100 runs. If I'm defining x equals to, I'm defining a random variable. If he makes more than century, he's successful cricketer in that match or any match. Okay. Now I'm defining x as that. What is that? If he makes more than 101 century, I'm saying he did the good batting. That's what my random variable. All are with me. So one batsman made, let's say, 50 runs. What is the x equal to 1 means what? He met the target greater than 100. X equal to 0 means what? Made less than. So this is one random variable, right? So in the match, 11 players are there. One player make more than 1 century, and another few players make less than century. But putting all these together, the match may win. They may win the match or not, right? Yes or no? That is a different random variable. Maybe here he made century, but they lose the match. Maybe, right? You guys are getting that? So x equal to 1, he made century, but y is they win the match or not. So why? They might have lost the match. Y equal to 1. You guys are getting or not? So based on the things are going to change. So in case of the each batsman, there's a different random. That is also Bernoulli. And losing the match or winning the match also another random variable. All are with me? Don't combine these two. So in that case, how many matches made? They played different random variables. Different match 1 is a one random one Bernoulli. Match 2 another Bernoulli. Match 3 another Bernoulli. Here, when the cricketer, when the batsman is batting more than 100, only 11 possible things are there, right? Only 11 random variables are possible. Yes or no? But number of matches winning or not, there are any number of matches. Friends, you guys are able to understand. So trial means in case of the batsman, only I am referring to one batsman. But in case of the winning the match and all, I am putting at all the people and calling that as a one trial. The things are clear? Things are clear, guys? So a person is going to get a job or not. That is, each one is a Bernoulli trial. Emandi. Yes, sir, understand. So 900. There are how many Bernoulli trials are there? 900 Bernoulli trials. Now I am defining another new random variable. Y. Let's say that Y is like this. If any batch, if there 20% of the people who completed the course, if you have not completed the course, you may not get the job anyway. I am defining my random variable like that. Y equals to the person completed the course successfully and got a job. So if Y equal to 1, I am taking he got a job. I mean, let me write it. What I am saying is X. Now the standard distribution is this. What is the distribution? Standard formula. P of X equals to some small x. This is what we are talking, right? Small x, right? Equals to P naught. I am introducing a new term. P naught to the power of x. 1 minus P naught 1 minus x. Why this formula like this? I'll explain afterwards. I'll explain this afterwards. Why the formula like this? For the timing, you need to by heart. Remember, write 20 times. Remember, write 20 times. If you are not going to write it, you are the big loser. For sure. I'm giving 1 minute to by heart that. Please by heart now itself. What is this P naught? Percentage of success. Percentage of success. What does it mean? Success doesn't mean that it's always in a positive sense. Success could be either 1 or 0. You define what you are going to call as success. Let me explain with an example so that you please understand what I'm trying to say. Let's say take the same testing example. Okay. What is the objective of the tester? To find a defect. What is the objective of the developer? No defect. Yes or no? No defective test cases, right? You guys are understanding what I'm saying? Okay. So with respect to the test engineer, finding a defect is a success. With respect to the developer, it's not a success. So you define what context you are calling a success. All are with me? All are with me, guys? So success doesn't mean that it's always a successful. Failure also, you call that as a success. You guys understood? Okay. Now, P is the percentage of the success. What does it mean? Let's say how I'm going to calculate this. When I'm saying this is a population, P naught is the population. Means what? I need to collect all the data and calculate. I need to collect all the data and calculate. So far, let's say take 17 batches so far I completed. I'm calling those people as a entire population. Is that okay? You are not going to have the entire data always. Why? Actually, strictly speaking, I need to include the 18 batch also, no? I'm calling 17 as a population. Till 17, batch 1 to batch 17 is a population. I'm defining like that. Okay. Actually, I should include my population should contain 18 batch also, no? But I need to wait till it completes. So what I'm trying to say, calculation of the population is highly impossible. It's not possible. What you are going to do, whatever so far I'm having the data, there is sample data, right? Sample data. So I'm going to calculate P naught value from the sample data. So what I'm saying is, it is not possible to calculate. But for that, I'm going to calculate the small p. This is my notation. This P naught is my notation. If I write a book, I write like this. It's not the textbook, definition. What is the textbook? In the textbook, they write this is with a thick letter, like this, and this P they write as it's a bold one is the P naught, and this P is this one. You guys are clear? So this is the population percentage. Okay, I'm defining another P. What is this? Sample percentage of success. You guys are getting? So let me call this. Let me calculate how I'm going to calculate this value. Let's say I can have the 70 till DS17. I can have all the people data. How many people got a job? How many people did not get a job? All those things. So each one is the Bernoulli trial. So let us say you close your eyes. You close your eyes. What I'm doing. You should not look at what I'm doing. If you look at it, you'll get into unnecessary trouble. Okay. So this is what it is. I'm defining for each person. X is person secured a job. Strictly speaking, or number of people secured a job. Let me put it like this. No, I don't want to see person secured a job. That's fine. But I need to write this person secured a job very, very clearly. Person secured a job is not the proper definition, right? The person who had completed the training successfully and secured a job or not. That is the proper definition. But for a time constraint, I have not explained. Srikanth, you need to wait. X I defined as person secured a job or not. So I'm calling X equal to 1, secured a job, or X equal to 0, not secured a job. If this is okay? If this is okay? Let us do. What about this? This person secured a job or not? How many people are there? 900 there. You guys are understanding what I'm saying? Friends, you guys are understanding? So 900 data points are there. So this is each person, right? Here 0 or 1 represents the each person got a job or not. So if you look at this person got a job. Whatever the 107 person got a job. Whatever the 108 person he did not secure job. Clear or not? So actually I need to collect the entire population. Is it possible? I'm never going to do it. So, but instead of that, I'm going to collect the sample data. What is the sample data I collected now? 900 people come. Strictly speaking, do I expose to my population entire batches? In the future batches also I need to include, right? It's not possible to calculate the data. Now, from this, I'm going to calculate the sample P. What is the sample P? If I add all these things, what I'm going to get? Number of people secured a job. I'm going to do like this. Statistics, sum. From this. So out of 900 people, how many people secured a job? 206 people secured a job. All are with me. How many people did not receive the job? Rest of the people. All are okay. Now I'm going to calculate the sample P like this. P equal to number of people secured job divided by total number of people attended the training, right? My writing is very bad. You need to attend a So how much is this? 206 by 9, whatever I got. This is equivalent to, how much is that? 0.228. This is a sample percentage. Can I calculate the population percentage? I don't have the data. But I am going to consider the sample as my population and do the calculation. Why? What is the, how these things are going to useful? Let us understand this. Let's say you are reaching to the office, in between 8:30 to, let's say, 9 o'clock every day. His behavior is going to change drastically, or this is what is the trend you are going to maintain every day? What I'm saying is, Shrikant, what time you reach to the office? 9? Most of the times? Majority of the times 9? Okay, tomorrow at what time you are going to the office? 9? Past also 9? So what I'm saying is, until unless there is some disturbance in his waking up or whatever the, maybe health is not good, whatever the reasons, if there is no change in the process, what is the meaning of that? There is no change in the process. Before getting to sleep, tomorrow, let's say he wants to go to the tomorrow office at 9 o'clock. There is no change in the process. There is no change in the process means what? Today, whatever happened yesterday, it should happen the same way today also. Then only he will go to the office tomorrow 9 o'clock, right? If there is a disturbance today compared to my yesterday, definitely he is not going to go to the office at 9 o'clock. You guys are understanding? So what I am trying to say, if there is no change in my process, it doesn't matter whether I include tomorrow's data in my calculation or not. So until most of the processes are stable processes. What is the meaning of a stable process? Things are not going to change that drastically. Your salary credited. On the day your salary is getting credited to your bank. Is the process, is there any change in the process? Most of the times how the same day it is happening? Yes or no? So for example, X equal to, I'm defining every month, first of every month my salary is going to get credited. If on that day it is happening, I call that is X equal to 1, otherwise X equal to 0. Is it going to change from first to second? Most of the time it is not going to change. Even I collect, if I collect the future observation, it is going to go first. Maybe some delay, maybe, which we don't know. Sometimes there may be, they created the salary on the second, possible. But most of the times when I'm considering the collecting the data, most of the times it is the first only. If I'm teaching the 50 people, most of the times, how people are going to attend the classes, how people are going to do the job is not going to change drastically. Yes or no? Until unless I change my process of teaching. I'm not changing my process of teaching. I'm teaching the same way, calculating this P from the sample data. But as there is no change in the process, if there is no change in the process, this P is going to be same as my P naught. If there is too much of change, if there is too much of change in the process, definitely the P and the P naught are not going to be the same. So at that time, your analysis, whatever you are going to make, is not going to give the right answers. All are with me? So what I'm trying to say, you don't know the P naught, but calculate the P using the sample data, treat that sample value as my, provided this P is a constant throughout the process. In the batch 1, I'm going to get, let's say, 22 point. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? 0.2289. In the batch, first batch, around 23% of the people selected the job. And second batch also how much? But that is true. Maybe a little bit more or less. On an average, this is the value, right? So what you have done? 206 have I got? Let us dig a little bit more into this. How you got the 206? I got the 206 like this, right? 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0, like that. How many? How many I'm adding? 900 I'm adding, 900. Divided by 900. What is the numerator? Sum of all the observations or not? Divided by number of observations. So this P is nothing but average again. M and D, online. P is also an average. P is also average. You guys are clear or not? Let me. So this P is a average. Simple. P is also average. Clear? Now let us take a simple example and make you confused. And I'll clarify that confusion also. Let us take the tossing a coin. Tossing a coin is what? Bernoulli trial or not? When is the Bernoulli trial? If x equal to number of hits. I'm defining my random variable. What is the random variable I'm defining when I'm tossing a coin? X equal to 1 if I get the head. X equal to 0 if I get the tail. All clear? All clear, guys? How much is the probability? Getting a head? 1 by 2? Huh? 1 by 2? Let's take this. Let us take these trials. Only 4 trials. How many heads I got? Let's say how many tails I got. I'm defining x equal to 1 as a head and x equal to 0 as the tail. I tossed the coin 4 times. How many times? All 4 I got tails only. What is the problem? By looking at this data, calculate the P. How much is the P? 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. What is my x first of all? Let me define x. I'm talking about the tossing a coin. I'm talking about the tossing a coin. So I tossed coin 4 times. Okay. I'm defining x is a random variable. X equal to 1 if I get a head and x equal to 0 tail. So this is nothing but x equal to indirectly number of heads, right? That's what the proper definition. Huh? I tossed it. Yeah. How many heads are there? Only 1 only or 0 heads? These are only the 2 possibilities. Yes or no? Now I tossed this 4 times. What is my P? P equal to 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 divided by 4. What is this P? 0%. Out of these 4 trials, how much is the x is what here? X is the number of heads. Please remember. So 0% of the times I got the head. Yes or no? Means what? 100% of the times I got the tail. P, based on the x definition, you need to infer. What is the x equal to 1 I define? Number of heads. So I got 0%. What is the 0%? I got 0% of the heads. Whatever the x equal to 1, that related 0 this is. Yes or no, guys? So what is the P equal to, how much is the percentage? 0%. X equal to, what about the tails? 100%. But I need to get 1 by 2, nah? You guys are getting it or not? How much I should get it? Here I got 0% or 100%, but as per the theory, when I'm tossing a coin, I should get the probabilities 1 by 2. But now I got how much? 0 or 100%, right? If x equal to 1 is a head, 0% of the heads I got. I should get 50% of the heads. When I've done this experiment, at least out of 4, 2 I should get heads and 2 I should get tails. So actually how my data should look like? 0, 0, 1, 1 or 1, 1, 0, 0 or 0, 1, 0, 1. Like that I need to get it. Any of these combinations. But how I got? All the 4 things I got 0. Is my theory is wrong? You are going to say whenever you toss a coin, you are going to get the heads. Heads is 0% always. then what is the right thing? You guys are understanding what I'm saying? So the understanding is this. Repeat this at how many times I conduct, how many Bernoulli trials are there? 4. No. You need to do large number of Bernoulli trials. Large number of Bernoulli trials in the sense, how many Bernoulli trials I need to make? Close your eyes, what I'm doing. Close your eyes, what I'm doing. Let me, if you see, you are not going to understand what I'm teaching. Don't test your intelligence. Let's say first, let me make it 10. So these are tossing a coin tossing example. How many times I toss the coin? Huh? So how many heads I got? 4 heads. 4 heads. 4 divided by 10. 40% only I got it, right? Actually, I should get how much? 50%. You guys are understanding, guys? Now let's do the same experiment. Instead of this, I toss this time 1000 times. This is a little bit of more number of trials compared to my 10 trials. Now let us calculate how much is this. These are nothing but the mean only. I need to look at sum of all the trials divided by number of trials. So when I added all these things, how much I am getting? 530. Out of 1000, how many heads I got? 530. So it is tending near to the theoretical value. All are with me or not? If I increase the trials by some more, let us see what is going to happen. Interesting or not? Is it interesting, guys? Is it interesting? Now let's do one more time. Close your eyes. Please don't see what I'm doing. This time, I toss the coin 10,000 times. Let us see what is going to happen. This is much better than this. Near to how much? 0.5. So what I'm trying to say is, if you collect the less sample, n equal to 10, your population, it is not matching with your population value. How much is the population value actually? P naught. 1 by 2, na? But when I did this, only when I did this 1,000 times, my population value is how much? 1 by 2. I mean of 0.5. So how much it is coming? 0.513. There's a little bit of difference. But if we increase the sample size, the sample data which you collected, it is what is happening? It is nearing to my 0.5. All are with me or not? So what I'm trying to say is, you collect the data as much as you can. The small p value which you are calculating is going to match with your population value or not. So in the theoretical sense, when I'm saying the p, small p, that is sample data, that sample data, if it is large enough, anyway it is going to match with my p naught. Let us let us understand one more thing. What is the time? Yeah. Let us understand with some more example. Because whenever yes or no kind of thing is there, is always going to be a 1 by 2 probability. Huh? Yes or no kind of thing is there, it is going to be always a 1 by 2 probability. All are with me, what I'm saying. Is it going to be 1 by 2? I'm asking a question. In each case is a Bernoulli. Now there are around 60 people is there in the class. Huh? Now I'm asking a question. I'm asking you to play the cricket. Okay? What's your name? Dilip. Yeah. Dilip, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you to play cricket. What is the chance that you are going to make 100 runs? Is that 50%? Huh? 50%? You make 100 runs? Huh? What is the thing? Are you going to make? See, you may make 50 runs, or you may not make 100 runs. Right? This is my bet only. Now I'm asking you, what is the chance that you are going to make 100 runs if I give the bat? Even I am bowling. I'm not a super duper bowler. Still, I'm asking you, how many runs you make? 100? What is the chance? 50%. 50%. You guys are understanding what I'm saying? So, if a yes or no is there, always it is for 50%. Huh? Confusion started, right? That's why data science is charged a high price. It depends on the sample. Based on the sample, my things are going to be changed. So if I ask him to play 100 times, he's going to, so 50% of the matches he's going to make 100 runs. What people are saying depend on the sample. Now instead of I'm asking him to play one match, I'm asking you to play 100 matches. So in that 100 matches, he's going to make 100 runs, 50% of the matches he's going to make 100 runs. Huh? No. Weak bowler, strong bowler, or good batsman, all those things. I'm the bowler, he is the batsman. Maybe assume whatever the bowler you want. These things, background conditions are not changing. I'm bowling. How many runs he is going to make? He's not a professional cricketer, let's assume. 50% of the times 100 runs. And then, what is my theory again? So what I'm trying to say, if yes or no is there, doesn't mean that it's always a 50%. I look at when I bowled, or when a team of bowlers bowled in those matches, how many times he made 100. I collect that data. You guys are getting it? The team of the bowlers are not changing. How he performed in the past, I'm going to collect it. Let's say out of 100 matches or 200 matches, he made only 2 matches. So what I'm going to say? 2 divided by 200, only 1% of the times he is going to make? Yes or no? You guys are clear about how this, so don't think that yes or no is always a 1/2 probability. But in case of the coin, he is having equal opportunity, right? He is having equal opportunity to play, make 100 runs based on his capability. Not his capability is different. You guys are getting what I'm saying, guys. This should be very, very clear into your head. Most of the people do the mistake based on this concept. Whenever yes or no is there, off is the probability. No. You need to look at the past data. Based on past data, you need to conclude. Make sense, guys? Make sense? It is not, my calculation of the probability is not going to change drastically based on the sample. Let me give one more example so that you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So let's take his example. Let's say he played so far, let's say 1,000 matches. How many matches? 1,000 matches. How many matches he played? So in that, he made, let's say, few matches centuries, few matches not. Yes or no? So let me collect the data of his performance of how many matches? Close your eyes, close your eyes. Don't see what I'm doing. Don't see what I'm doing. I'm telling you. If you see it, you're dead, I'm telling you. No excuse. This subject is going to take your brain like anything. I think by this time you guys might have understood. It looks everything same. But things are going to change drastically. Dekho. This is the cricket performance of Dilip. In the first match, how many runs he made? Greater than 100? Second, 4 matches. No. Duck out. Maybe. I don't know. 0 doesn't mean the duck out. He made less than 100. That's what my definition. Yemandi, online, you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. I'm shouting like anything. What about this? On the 6th match, he made greater than 100. So I collected this past performance. Okay? Based on this, I can calculate how many times he made the peak. Let's say, it is like this now. I'm creating a hypothetical situation. If I ask him to play in the entire life, he played, let's say, Now he's so far he played 1000, but in the future also he's going to play. Let's say I collected all his data. One more time. देखो, if I allow him to play throughout his life, how many matches he's going to play? Around 3000. How many matches? 3000. So far he played only, let's say, 1000 matches. You guys understand? So this 3000 will become my population? Yes or no? 100 matches so far, whatever he played will become the sample of that population? Makes sense or not? 100 matches. I take the first 100 matches. First 100 matches data. Let's take this. So far, oh, not 100 matches, 1000 matches, right? So far you played how many matches? 1000. Let's take the 1000 matches data. Where is that? Thousand matches. Copy. Paste. Okay, not okay. So this is a sample P. I am going to calculate using this, right? Let me call this a P. This is a P naught. Actually, strictly speaking, I need to wait till all the matches we played and calculate so that I'll come to know. But in real life, that is not going to make any sense for us. So what I'm going to do? This I take it. I'm going to calculate the this P, sample P curve. How much is the? Around 0.9196, means what? 19.6% of the times he made greater than 100 runs. Yes or no? Now let's calculate this for the sample also, population also. It should match, na, more or less. Now this time, more or less same, guys. You guys are understanding? You guys are understanding? But this is not available for us. Only what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and going ahead with my calculations. All are clear? But if you collect some more data, instead of the 1,000 matches, if you collect the 2,000 matches, definitely it is going to be more near to my P naught. Oh, this is clear to you guys. Okay?